Despite a lot of people asking Tesla to stop messing around with their pricing and kicking out and adding new models and options, they're screwing around with pricing and kicking out a model from their lineup. So just this week. All right, I'll tell you what happened. I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing. It's just, yeah, well, let me tell you what happened. Welcome to E4 Electric. This is where you can receive a daily scoop of electric car news. Of course, if you want to make sure that you do, go ahead and click on that subscribe button down there so you don't miss any of this exciting stuff moving forward. And of course, become a part of this amazing community that's here every day, arguing and debating all kinds of exciting stuff like this one. All right, so we know this year has been a bit rocky for Tesla despite all the amazing, really good news. The problem is that they're changing prices a lot and leaving a lot of customers unhappy. They're also adding and subtracting, models and options, and it becomes confusing, especially for new customers who are not familiar with the brand. Well, unfortunately, this week is still no different. There are a couple of changes. Well, first of all, they kind of quietly, again, there's never big announcement. There's never kind of warning ahead of time. They just kind of take it out from their website, and then somebody notices and publishes it, and that's how we know. This is not really the way I would prefer they do it. Let me know in the comment section if you are okay with it, or you would also rather have heads up or some sort of announcement. Anyway, so I remember when they were it was back in fall. They were selling out of most expensive versions of the Model 3, but then the 35,000 version was very far away, and so these were the European deliveries. And so they introduced a mid-range Model 3 at $45,000. It had a smaller battery and had 264 mile range, and that was actually a pretty good option because the incentives were still in full force at $7,500 here in the United States. So that was a pretty reasonable, cheap version for the Model 3. As a matter of fact, they lowered the prices. There you go again, to $42,900. Now, if you would buy the same car in January, you would have to essentially pay almost $4,000 extra because the tax incentive was cut in half, the tax rebate, right? So this car was $8,000 away from the $35,000 version, but $4,000 almost away from the tax cut. So you kind of were still within $4,000 of the $35,000 version, if you're following my math here. So that was not a bad deal at all. So a lot of people jumped on that, but don't forget, with that, you still gotten a great range and all of the different options that, the basic Model 3 doesn't have. So that was very well worth $4,000. So I thought it was a great option, but guess what? They're now removed it. So I don't know why, because when they said that when they were making it, there was really no changes to the production. They're just going to stick less of the battery cells in there and just call it a day. Really no changes. I thought it was great. I thought it was a great idea. Good price. Everybody wins. But apparently now that there is a $35,000 version in works, they discontinued it. Not really sure again why, because there will be quite a few people who will have to wait for the $35,000 version, where maybe now they would have settled for this one because it's still a decent deal. Again, I'm not really sure if following their logic, but nevertheless, they have discontinued it, and that's a shame. Let me know in the comment section if you would have preferred that they would have kept it, or maybe you already bought one, and let me know if you're happy with it. Now, there was another change in pricing once again, and it once again feels a little odd. Before I tell you about that, let me just remind you that this video on this channel is sponsored by Accelerate Auto, the extended service contracts for electric cars, including the Tesla Model 3, up to 125,000 mile coverage, only $100 deductible, and $100 off if you apply the E4 Electric discount code when you purchase. So go ahead and find the link to their website in the description of this video. All right, so here's another news, and this was announced on Twitter. And you know what? I like this announcement. It's giving you a heads up in a pretty good way. I would have preferred bigger press release, but still, I'm happy with this one. Okay, they're saying due to the unusually high volume, Tesla was unable to process all orders by midnight on Monday. So the slight price rise on vehicles is postponed to a midnight Wednesday. As you know, all of the Tesla vehicles, except for the $35,000 version Model 3, was supposed to go up by, I think, 3%. There was a compromise between them closing all of the stores or just half of the stores. So that's fine. But now all of a sudden they discover that they can't process all orders. So I don't quite understand it. What does it mean process? Secondly, how is the price increase is affected by the processing? So they would close the orders from this price, start taking orders for a different price. So it's just a number on a paper, and that's how we do it. So I'm not quite sure what that means, but I do know that the end of the quarter is coming. So it kind of looks like they're just trying to keep the prices lower to sell more cars, which I understand, but like, did they not know that? Like when they announced it, did they not know that? Was it a knee jerk reaction once again by Elon? It's only 1 week difference. They could have just said we're gonna increase it on April 1st or April 2nd. But no, they said a particular date. Well, I think it was 19th, right, or 18th, and now they're prolonging it. So I don't know if this is a good way of doing this, just because it doesn't make sense, and you could have just kind of set it for the rest of the month. I don't think nobody blames you for that. But I think, I just went to Model Y unveiling, right? And an interview with Zach and Jess here is up. And I've hung out with a lot of Tesla fans over there, right? So there's just two different schools of thought. Tesla fans and Tesla fanboys especially, they basically say, listen, whatever's good for the brand, we're behind that, right? And my school of thoughts is like, whatever's good for the customer, I'm behind that. This seems like this is good for the brand and the customer, but I wish they would have just been honest about it and said, yeah, guys, you know what? We're trying to make sales, and so it looks like we'll sell a few of them at a discount, essentially, right? Without raising prices. You're happy, we're happy, it's cool. But this whole processing thing is like, I don't want to know about how bad your accounting is or like how you're taking your orders. Anyway, so that's a bit of unfortunate, but let's talk about some positives and negatives. All right, so obviously the oh my camera my video froze. Let's see if I can restart it. No, I can't. All right, fine. Here's a picture. So obviously the positives is that more people will buy this car at 3% less than people in the future, and they're communicated. I like that. I like the communication. That's definitely positive. So I don't think anybody would complain. Now, as far as the Model 3 mid-range being discontinued, if any positive I can find there is at least hopefully they're finally settled down with a standard range and a long range, and hopefully there will be not too many or any changes, moving forward. Now the negatives here are obviously, yet another change, yet another price change or delay of the price change, and also a little bit maybe dishonesty there, or at least shadiness. I just don't, just don't like that. Or maybe it's just a sign of incompetence, if anything, if we just even take their word for it. So now I don't think either one of this is really that big of a deal, but I really, 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 really hope with all of these good news and finally Model Y being in the lineup, I really hope they're able to kind of settle down, execute, start delivering more cars and the $35,000 version Model 3 and the China and in Europe, all the good stuff that's going on. If they can just settle everything, including the SEC stuff, and just move forward quietly with this amazing lineup, that's at this point is very, very much loved by everybody. I think that would be the best thing for the company. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. I'm looking forward to that. Other than that, see you guys next time, and remember to stay charged.